Okay, so I am, first of all, I'll let you know I am not wearing this hat to be cool. It's just the lighting in this place. One minute you can see me on the camera, the next minute you can't. But this is part two of near death experience. And we had stopped last time at, I was 6 years old. I was brought to heaven and I was shown my book of life. And I was very happy because in that book of life, it revealed to me that I was going to be loved. And I was going to be loved by a man. And that I would also have children and I would be a mother. And I was so excited because it gave me hope. It gave me hope because I knew that one day I would get out of the abuse. After the angel showed me the book of life, she walked me over to what looked like really large tablets. These tablets were probably the size of a movie screen. And when you go to watch a movie at a movie theater, it's probably the size of a movie screen. So anyhow, these tablets were the Ten Commandments. And in fact, at the very top of the tablets, it said Ten Commandments. And the angel read them to me one by one. And as she read them to me, there was two men in robes that glowed of light, very much like the angel. There was a radiance of light around the angel, but same with the two men. And the best way to explain it is, even though heaven was bright and beautiful, these men were off in the shadows. And when I say shadows, I guess what I'm trying to say by saying shadows is they were far off, but I could hear them talking about me. And when I had looked over there and saw them talking about me, well, number one, even though I could hear them talking about me, in heaven they don't talk like you and I. It's more of a mind thing. And anyways, I saw them smiling and I saw them talking about me. And the angel, as she read off these Ten Commandments, they would look at me and then they would look at each other and they would smile and chit-chat. And as the angel read off each commandment, she asked me, she says, "Do you understand?" And I said, yes, I understood that these are the Ten Commandments. And I understood that God and Jesus, our Creator, had rules for us here on earth. And I understood that I was on a journey. I understood that this life wasn't mine. These trials weren't mine. These troubles weren't mine. This hurt wasn't mine. But it was destined to be this way. Our Father God already knew what I was going to go through, what my sister was going to go through. And with them, maybe because they don't keep time, God, our Creator, Jesus, our Creator, our angels, maybe because with them, time isn't an issue, but with us, time is an issue. Maybe they don't see it the way that we see it. Because with them, time isn't an issue because there is no time with them. So anyhow, I told her that I understood the Ten Commandments. And she told me that I had to go back. And I begged her. I remember pulling on our robe, telling her I couldn't go back, I couldn't go back, I couldn't go back, please don't send me back. And she looked at me and she told me, she says, God and Father God were talking about me, and she wanted me to know that they were really proud of me, that they loved me and they were proud of me, but I wasn't done, I wasn't finished, that I was destined to do something, but I wasn't finished. And I told her I understood that, I told her I understood that, that I was destined to do something. I understood that this life wasn't my own. And I told her I understood that. But I still didn't want to go back. I couldn't go back. I couldn't face another day. And she somehow gave me the words, the encouragement to say okay. Because that's what I said. I said okay. I wasn't happy about it, but I did say okay. And she promised me that the abuse was going to end. And I said okay. So my angel brought me back, and I was standing on a on the windowsill with her when she brought me back into this room where my aunt was, my enormous aunt. And this lighting is crazy. But anyhow, I'm watching the light disappear as I'm talking to you. Wow. Okay. So my aunt the angel brought me back into the room where my aunt was at, where I had been taken from. And I saw that I was still sleeping on top of my enormous aunt. And in a blink of an eye, my angel was gone. And I was asleep on the floor in that room. And I woke up. And when I woke up, I had been covered up by a sheet. I had been laid on the floor. And I had been covered up. And a pillow had been put under my head. And I woke up to that. And it was morning time. And it felt like I had the best night's rest a person could have. And I had hope. I had hope. And I knew, God, I wanted to tell everybody about my experience. And I think I did tell my sister about what happened. But that was God. That was God giving me hope to endure. And I knew that it wasn't me that placed myself on that pillow that morning. It wasn't me who laid down under those covers that morning on the floor. If I would have done that, and I would have been caught laying on the floor under some blankets and under some pillows, I would have been, dead meat. I knew better. So it was definitely God, and that was my near-death experience, and I'll never forget. I'll never forget that I was brought to heaven, and I was told, oh yeah, that's the other thing is, I was told that this life wasn't mine. It wasn't my life. I was here for a reason, and that reason is to let people know about God, that He is real, that there is a heaven. And that was my purpose. And I told God, I promised God that I would let people know that He was real. And I would point them in His direction, that I would share the gospel. So this is kind of my way of following through with the promise that I made. Well, thank you guys for watching.